I probably should talk a little bit more as I'm trying to tag people. Um, I know I'm getting ready to upset some people right now with what I have to say. Um, I've always been the kind of person who didn't really concern himself with um, people sort of not liking my conversation. If I believe that what I was saying was the right thing to say, or yeah, then I'll just speak my mind. I talk to too many young people, and I tell them too often the need for um, speaking your mind, telling the truth, being honest, and doing so. I mean, do so respectfully, but still speak your mind. Don't bite your tongue. Um, and I'm not the guy who says to people, do as I say, not as I do. I'm not going to be that person. So, again, I know fully, I've thought about it, and I know fully that some people are not going to like this conversation. But I don't know that many people are going to be able to argue with it too much, although some will try. I'm trying to make sure to hit the necessary people who I really need to hear me. So, um, so a few things, right? I just want to sort of set the stage here for, so you all can properly put in context what I'm saying. So think about this. Some of the most complicated things to talk about is religion and politics, right? We know this. They tend to cause arguments. People are real strong on either side of the argument. So I want y'all to think about a few words. So Christian, Muslim, right? Democrat, Republican, right? Seems simple enough. I'm a person I'm a veteran, so let's go Marine, sailor, which is a person who's in the Navy. So if you look at the way I framed the subject matter here, right, I said the hypocrisy is so loud that it's deafening. The hypocrisy in this country is real deep. So I focus a lot on legal justice in this area. So that's in the realm of recidivism, expungements, trying to help people get their records expunged if they got certain things that makes them, eligible. Young people who are sort of getting themselves caught up in that pipeline that's leading them from the schools to the prisons or whatever. I'm trying to bust that pipe. But again, that puts me in the juvenile judicial system, criminal system, if you will. Or the people coming home from prison, trying to break recidivism, that cycle of people going back and forth to prison. So I see myself as a person who blocks, as best we possibly can, that. Now, I want to be real clear here. This is my opinion. Everything I'm saying right now is from me. I'm not really concerned with those who don't agree with me. We can debate it if you want to. But to me, these are facts that I'm about to put on the table, but they're coming from me. Most politicians in this country will say, when it comes to crime, that they will do any and everything they can to reduce it. You either are those kind of politicians who feel like the remedy is to put people in prison forever. I suppose you think that that's going to reduce crime, or your thought process is that if John Doe witnesses you locking up Bob Doe for 1,000 years, then the next person that comes along will think about the 1,000 years that Bob got, and it'll make him think twice about committing whatever crime that he's about to. I suppose that's sound logic, but I wonder how long of realizing that that doesn't work before people switch up and start trying to do something different. You can't lock away a person forever and think that you're going to stop crime. Most people don't want to commit crime. They're not committing crime because it's enjoyable. It typically doesn't work that way, right? So when you lock me away forever, it doesn't discourage the next person from doing the same thing I did, because he has his own reasons for why he's doing it. I want y'all to think about something from a historical point of view. The Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, right? For those who just go back a little bit in history, you can see the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, which was in Hawaii. Killed all kinds of people, mostly sailors, right? In return, we flew over and we bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima with nukes. First time that's ever been done in the world. We did it. Killed all types of Japanese people over there. Now, if you take that knowledge, right, and you put it in the streets, you would say to yourself, if this was like a street organization who had done the same thing and another street organization did the same thing, you know, we would be up in arms. This society that we live in, right? We would be up in arms. We would be complaining and whining and everything else, saying that, look at those people killing one another. Somebody would say, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, somebody would have said, you know, turn the other cheek. Let it go. We're bigger than that. You know, don't give in to the emotion of it. No, not the United States. The United States said, no, that's a declaration of war. That's a declaration of war, and we're going to get some get back. We're going to retaliate. I don't know what really is the greatest difference between that and the mentality of the people that's in the streets. They look at it pretty much the same way. I'm not saying it's necessarily the right thing. I'm simply saying that they have history to go off of. They didn't come out the womb performing in that way. They had examples in the world that they were able to look at and replicate or emulate. That's a better word, emulate. Today, in Asia, guess who is the United States' #1 ally? Yeah, Japan. The very country that all those years ago, they bombed us. Now, they friends. There's a common denominator, and that common denominator is money. The great equalizer, right? Some of y'all may be asking yourself, where is he going with all of this? I'm going to go a little step further. Our #1 ally in the world, this country, I mean, the United States' #1 ally in the world is, I don't know if many of you know this, but it's Israel. Probably the smallest country, but that's our #1 ally. Some people want to argue that, but I don't know how you can. Israel, for those of you who didn't know it, Israel, and I've said this before, but not to many people, Israel's #1 enemy over there is Hamas. over in Israel. Hamas. That's their number one enemy. They got a bunch of them. Almost like clockwork, every few years, Israel goes to war with Hamas. And when they do, they bomb, and then they get to the point where it stopped. But in order to stop, the leadership of Israel will go to the strangest place to get help with bringing the war to a close. Guess where they go? The leadership for Hamas is in the bottom of the prisons of Israel. Those that Israel don't kill, they lock them up and they put them in prison. And when it's time to end that war, they send their people into the prison to tell the leadership of Hamas, the ones who are still living, hey man, why don't y'all, we done killed enough of y'all, or whatever. Y'all done killed enough of us. Let's put this down for right now and let's try to talk. Let's negotiate. Let me take advantage of your influence in the streets. I'm going to let you call out there and talk to them people and tell them to slow down. That's what I want to do with y'all. And guess what? That's what they do. Some of y'all might be able to see my point of where I'm going, but those of you who can't, here I am. Our number one ally, this country's number one ally, the United States of America's number one ally is Israel. Israel, when it goes to war with this enemy they call Hamas, they go into the prisons to talk to the leadership of said organization, said group, for the purpose of we're dealing with an individual, Israel is saying, we're dealing with individuals who we know have the ability, have the influence to be able to reduce the violence in the streets. That's the decision, that's the conclusion, that's the logic that Israel uses. Well, over here in America, you have the politicians who will say that they'll do any and everything possible to reduce crime. We talk about it all the time, but it's talk. Because inside the prisons of these United States of America, there are individuals within those prisons who have the ability to do the exact same thing as the leadership in Hamas does over there. Their voices are strong enough that they can actually address some of the issues that's going on in the streets in a way that no politician can. They have the ability to have influence that no amount of prison time that you can give someone can accomplish. So my question becomes, at what point do the people in leadership in this country say to themselves, we're going to do exactly what we said we were going to do, which is to do whatever we can to reduce crime, violence in the streets? You can't shoot your way out of it. It's not going to work that way. The same place that the police department went and got its guns, guys in the streets went and got theirs. So it's not about who got the biggest gun. The hypocrisy, it stinks. It's loud. And a few more components of the hypocrisy, a few more examples of it, capital punishment, right? This isn't a political thing to me. It's not Democrat. I'm not a Democrat or Republican, for the record. I'm an issue-based person. I vote for whoever it is that is speaking to the issue that's important to me. So I'm not a Democrat or Republican. But you got capital punishment versus, just lock them away forever? you got capital punishment that says that that's a death penalty. And you figure that if you give people the death penalty, you're going to encourage individuals to stop doing whatever they're doing. Well, as I said, I personally don't believe that you accomplish anything by doing that. My personal opinion. But from the standpoint of, it's still murder, isn't it? So if this is a Christian country and we are looking at the Constitution that's based on the Bible and it says thou shalt not kill, again, all type of hypocrisy there, but I'm not tripping on it, right? Because this is the reality that we're living in. And I think it's very important that people just see that reality. How this country decides to encourage individuals to be law-abiding citizens, I mean, that's what the politicians are there for. What I'm choosing to speak on right now is when all is said and done, you got to be the message that you bring, right? We encourage our young people to do that. But the adults feel like, I guess, when you get to a certain age, you can just do whatever you want. I want to encourage those people who are in positions of influence, positions of power, to be more like the people who are on the ground in the streets, in these local communities. The individuals who are forced to be more real with the young people and the guys on the streets, the guys who are surviving out there. We're forced to get in their face, right? So it's not like you push a button from way over there and, you can just watch on a screen as the bomb drops way over there. You don't have to live with that. When you're on the ground dealing with this on a day-to-day, man, it's a little bit more real. So what I'm choosing to do is to go after whoever has the influence to be able to deal with the kind of people that I deal with. And I promise you, if I have to go into the church, the mosque, the temple, city hall, the school building, or the prison, to find someone who has the ability to speak to the problems in the streets that I'm living with on a day-to-day basis, that's what I'm going to do. No cap. I'm going to do that, right? Because I'm trying to deal with the problem, not the PR, not the propaganda. And it's not always going to be pretty. If y'all really sat there and watched the process of making sausages, none of y'all would eat sausages again. You never would. The process of making sausages, man, it's a nasty sight. But everybody goes into the store and buys those sausages and you eat them up. Well, they in good shape at that point. They've been wrapped up nice and pretty and they look slick. But the process to get there, nobody wants to deal with that. So the process to clean up these streets, to reduce crime, to encourage young people to focus on their education, to be respectful, that process can be ugly. That process can cause for you to get called at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning because someone just got molested. And you have to do what? What you gonna do? That's an ugly process when you're looking at a young person who's talking to you like this and they're telling you them kind of things that's going on, but you got to deal with it. And you know that the parents still have rights because they still are the parents. And you got to suppress your emotions and not deal with that the way you would want to. That's an ugly process. So if I can go into the local church and talk to a pastor and say, hey, pastor, you think you can come and help us with this? Because I know the parent is a part of your congregation and you might have a little bit more influence with this person. That's what I'm going to do. But it's no different if that person happens to be a member of a street organization and the one that I know he's going to pay attention to is incarcerated. You think I'm not going into the joint? to talk to that person, but I'm serious about addressing this issue, my frustration is starting to build. It's starting to build because I'm wanting to deal with the problem. I'm not really interested in it being pretty, or, we got to sit around and follow, Robert's rules of order. The streets are not following Robert's rules of order. They're not. The trauma that these young people is going through, the trauma that individuals who've been incarcerated who come home trying to survive out here, the trauma that they have to go through is real. And you're not going to solve it with no cookie cutter approach. It's rough. So I want to encourage everyone it's all hands on deck. And if it's all hands on deck, that means I'm accepting help from wherever it can come from. Wherever it can come from. If it can come from corporate America, I want the help. If it can come from the basement of the penitentiary, I'm going to get the help. And I'm going to ask that the people who are going to be most critical, when you may see me standing next to, I'm putting a gang truce together, and you might see me standing next to some people that y'all call gang members. Man, that's y'all problem. You're going to say that you have a problem with me standing next to those people, but at the same time, you're going to sit here and say, well, we need to stop some of this crime that's going on. Before Japan got to the point where they're our number one ally, don't you know that they had to sit down and have a conversation? In order to put that truce together, in order to put that ceasefire together, they had to sit down and have a conversation. There was communication in order. It's a necessity. You cannot stop any conflict if there's no communication. How is it that if we want to reduce crime, that you think we should not talk to the people who you claim are the perpetrators of said crime? I don't get it. Again, the hypocrisy. More hypocrisy. If I go and catch a case, get arrested for something, and I know that John Doe was a witness to the crime, and I know John Doe, if he come to court, he gonna say, I'm not the one who did it. And I tell John Doe, look, man, I know you got to work and whatnot, so I'm going to give you some money to come take time off and come over here. I just bribed the witness. I just bribed the witness. But the prosecution can take a person who may be facing 10 years in prison, and you can offer him a deal to come and testify against someone, and don't worry about that 10 years, you cool. It couldn't have been that serious of a crime. You say this person was doing something that warrants 10 years in prison, but you will make a deal with him to come and testify. Why? That's not bribery. Yeah, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying it's hypocritical. When all is said and done, the deck is stacked against people. So people have the incentive to just stay out the streets. But it's difficult when the reality hits them. Why is this important? And I'm going to leave y'all with this because it's crazy. I do conflict resolution. It's one of the centerpieces of my movement that I'm involved in on a day-to-day basis. And I do that all over the country. Like, people call me, if y'all only knew, right? I get calls from all over the place to go and help individuals resolve differences. And some of it is hot, right? Some of it's been bad. How am I successful at doing it? There ain't nothing really new under the sun. when I talk to people, my conversation is not, my voice isn't gold or platinum. I ain't saying nothing that's super slick to these people. Why am I successful with it? And I'm not saying I'm perfect with it, but I do pretty well with it. The only reason I'm able to do it is because of the relationships that I've established with some of the people that we're talking about. Again, the communication. You want me to do what you can't do because the police can't do it. They can't come into the neighborhood and do nothing except threaten to lock somebody up. Right? They can't do it. The politicians can't do it. The business people can't do it. It's going to take people on the ground that's willing to partner with other different entities within the community in order to be effective at it. And the only way that I'm going to be able to do so, and y'all got to get off my back, I have to be able to talk to these people. I have to be able to talk to these people. And when I can't get through to them, y'all got to leave me alone, man. Let me go talk to whoever I need to, who has the proper influence to be able to address these issues. And we got individuals behind these walls. I'm telling you, we got individuals behind these walls with extreme influence out here in these streets, man. One phone call from certain people behind them walls, man, and some of this stuff would stop. That's as real as I can put it. And if you all accept that as being true, first of all, you have to accept it as being true because it's one of the very reasons that you claim that you put the people in prison in the first place is because of that influence. So we can't double talk. So if you say that they have that type of influence, why not sit down with those very people and make use of it? Why not? I mean, am I talking, is what I'm saying like foreign? Is it wrong? I hope that some of y'all, if y'all feel that way, you'll put a comment in here and tell me, Anthony, what you're saying is crazy. It's not true. You know, it's make-believe. Why don't some of y'all tell me that? If some of y'all can tell me that and you can make it make sense to me, I'll stand down. And I'll just say to myself, well, you've been, fooling yourself for a long time. I don't believe it. So my hope is that we can shut down some of the hypocrisy. We will take full advantage of any and everyone who has the ability to affect change in our community, in our young people, in our individuals who are coming home from prison. In this day and time, in the age of Corona, man, it's all hands on deck. Y'all don't feel that way? Women outnumber men out here 11-1 at last I saw. 11-1. Where are the men at? They're in prison. And I'm not, come on, don't insult my intelligence because I know I'll hear it. Don't act like I'm sitting there promoting the end of prisons. Come on, I'm not doing that. That's not what we're talking about right now. How much time is enough? I did 19 years in prison. I'm not proud of it, but I did. 19 years, half my life was in prison. It didn't take 19 years for me to learn that I needed to make some adjustments in how I move. Didn't take 19 years. But you got people in prison sick, right? I put a post up earlier, Jeffrey Hatcher. Come on, man, who he gonna hurt? Multiple sclerosis, paralyzed, assigned to a wheelchair. You can't go nowhere. What are you gonna do? Where you going? Did over 20 years. I mean, come on, man. At some point in time, let's just say let them people up out of there. Certain people. Just let them up out of there. Y'all wasting a whole bunch of money just for PR purposes so that when the next election cycle can come, you'll say that you were tough on crime. It's not like we can't see the move. We can see what you're doing. But it's too extreme. You got on the one hand, you super tough on crime, so you say give a person 300 years. I mean, come on, man. Who can live past 100 these days? Why are you giving somebody 300 years? I mean, what's the point? You can't act as if... Who is your audience that you feel like giving someone 300 years is useful? I don't know. I think I saw some questions on here, so I'm gonna go through them and I'm gonna let y'all go. I just really wanted to say a few words. Let me see. Um, um, what's up, Latarius? Natalie, Carl Fisher. What's up, Mister? Let me see. Hey, Latricia. Rafi, give me a call, please. I'd appreciate it. What's up, D? I'm not seeing no comments though on what my point is. Glad you just reminded me. I will give you a call later. Okay. Keep up a good work. It requires a special kind of people to sustain a level of devotion the work needs. Stay encouraged. Appreciate that. Mr. Cordero, I see you, sir. Well, not many people asking any questions. So, Coach Spring says, so what is the consequences for crime? Yeah, if you commit crime, you do time. I mean, that's the way this country works, Coach. If you commit crime, you do time. My point isn't, that's why I tried to make that clear just now. My point isn't that people should not do time for crimes. I mean, if you do it, if you're guilty, take what come with it. My point is, how much is too much? 300 years? Most people would argue that the crimes that should get you the most times are violent crimes, right? Most people would say that. You got individuals who do not have violent crimes who have life in prison. Life. That means you die in there, in the feds. It's over with. You dead in the joint. Non-violent offenses. Now, I don't think that's reasonable, depending on what you did, right? I'm not talking about pedophilia. I'm not talking about murder, I'm not talking about rape. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about other stuff. And I don't think that locking someone up forever behind those type charges, especially with the system being as flawed as it is, and you have so many different people that get their cases overturned, I'm just not comfortable saying that you have to sit in here for 30 years, 40 years, and then you realize, oops, we made a mistake. Nah, Coach. To answer your question, consequences of crime needs to be reasonable, in my opinion. And it needs to be comparable to the crime that you're alleged to have committed. Well, don't seem like there's many more questions, but I just really wanted to put that out there, and my hope is that more people start to speak up. The guys incarcerated, they don't really have a voice. They don't really have a voice. So when I get an opportunity to, it's not like I walk around every day talking like I'm an advocate for everybody that's incarcerated. Nah, I'm speaking against what's wrong. That's what I'm speaking against, what's wrong. And whatever that wrong is, I'm notorious for saying this. If I had one, if my brother was wrong, I'm gonna tell him he's wrong. That don't make me less your brother because I'm telling you that you're wrong. Sucker, you're wrong. You're wrong, man. You're wrong for I see my brother slap his girlfriend. What am I supposed to do, laugh? No, dude, you wrong. You would never do that in front of me. You wrong. I'm gonna tell my brother he wrong, but I'm gonna just allow for strangers to get away with things they ain't got no business getting away with? No, sir. That'll never be me. And as much as people have to say, well, they keep my name in their mouth, one thing you're going to consistently be able to say about me, if I believe in it, I'm going to speak on it. And y'all can try to discredit me and, say all kind of stuff about me all you want to. It will not stop me from doing what I'm doing. To me, I'm living in my calling, and I'm not going to stop. Why should I? What's your take in regards to nonviolent offenders do COVID-19 outbreak are people being released under new guidelines. Dion, as I understand it, individuals across the Dion asked the question about people due to COVID-19 being released from incarceration. As I understand it, most prisons are not allowing people to go home. County jails around the country have been releasing people due to the COVID-19 virus outbreak, if you will. I know here in Lake County, they've released a whole bunch of people, and I have to give them credit for that. They Sheriff Eidelberg here, along with the county board, Commissioner Sandy Hart, Vice Chair Cunningham, Mary Ross Cunningham, they on the forefront of trying to get individuals released from the jail due to the COVID-19. So they've done a great job. I want to definitely give them credit for doing so. You can always argue that these things should have been done quicker, but that's Monday morning quarterbacking. Right now, my hope is that those people who've been affected, people will do what's in their best interest. They will make sure not to forget them. That's my hope. But how do we as individuals make our voices heard to impact the system? Mike Flemings asked the question, how do we as individuals make our voices heard to impact the system? Mike, I can only speak on really myself, right? I'm one person. I took the initiative to act on what I believed in, and it starts with one. Everything starts with one person. You got to stand up and first look at the problem in its face. Don't be afraid of it. And where necessary, attack. You have to attack. You have to do so from a cerebral standpoint, though. Again, your guns ain't no bigger than nobody else's guns. Your team is never going to be as big as them other people's teams. So all I could tell you is you have to outthink people these days. I play chess on a chessboard. I do. But I play chess with life much, much better than I do on that chessboard. And I'm telling you, you have to outthink people. You have to learn. You have to study what it is that you're trying to get involved in. The same rules, the same laws that are meant to hurt you will help you if you know them. The same rules and laws that's meant to hurt you will help you if you know them. So I would recommend that you study. Just study. Don't talk about something if you don't know what you're talking about. Just go get the information, consume it. And when you do, you're better equipped to stand in front of everybody from the guy on the block to the mayor. But you can have a conversation with them in an articulate way where you're not viewed as the typical, hood dude speaking in Ebonics and all of that kind of stuff. That's what they're going to use against you. I'm not saying nothing wrong with Ebonics. I put them in my conversation from time to time. But you have to be versatile with it. So that's pretty much that. Well, looks like that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap this up. I really just wanted to say that I apologize for taking so long with this, but it's very important to me. I don't want anybody, when you see me or hear me, when you go on my personal page and you see me in communication with individuals who are incarcerated, I'm going to continue to do it because it's the right thing to do. And if you have a problem with that, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to continue to go wherever I need to go to receive the necessary help to address the problems that I am faced with every single day in this community. Whatever community I go into, this is what I'm dealing with. And I'm tired of looking at young people who they forced to live in situations that are uncomfortable, where they have predators around them, I'm tired of looking at the system that doesn't allow for people to come home from prison and live a comfortable life where they've done their time. They've done their time. Let them go. I'm tired of looking at these dudes who throwing up all these gang signs, and today they throwing up this gang sign, tomorrow they throwing up something different. Come on, man. You don't need to label them guys gang members. They're not for real, right? So, but you use the gang label to magnify their sentence. So if you say that this person is, a member of this particular street organization or gang, it allows you now to say a fight that would have normally given somebody probation, you can now say you can give them 5 years. That's some garbage. It ain't cool. I'm trying to tell everybody I see it. And guess what? Y'all see it too. What you gonna do about it? Stop falling for the same tricks all the time. What I'm gonna do, in my capacity, I learned a lot over my time being incarcerated. Before that, I learned a lot when I served my country in the military. I learned a lot since I've been home from prison. And I'm talking about I got lessons from everybody from senators to the guys in the streets, in the gutter, to the guys that was in the penitentiary, the people that's been there forever. And I'm telling you, y'all have to stop with the judgment and stop making it seem like I'm wrong. It was told to me when I went to prison, they asked me a question. Some people know me, they've heard this. They asked me the question, who do you think is the best person to talk to if you was getting ready to put an alarm system on your home? And my dumb self, 22 years old at the time, I said, the police. Police. And they laughed at me. And they said, nah. They said a home burglar. A home burglar was the best person to talk to figure out what's the best alarm system to put on your home, because he can tell you all the different ways to break into a home. And it's funny, right? This country, again, with the hypocrisy. You have those dudes who are like the cyber criminals. You know those people, as soon as they get out of prison, probably before they come home from prison, one of these corporations is trying to hire those people to come and help them protect their company's, computer stuff. Again, the blueprint is there. Like, this country does some of this stuff. But you'll tell me I'm wrong if I go and talk to someone who's been convicted of a RICO case for running a drug enterprise. I'm wrong for talking to him to learn all of the things that cause him to do what he's doing so as to prevent young people from doing the same thing. I'm wrong for that. I mean, come on. Really? It's good for you, but when I do it, I'm conspiring with criminals. I'm not accepting of that. I can't. If I'm serious about what I'm doing, when these young people come talking to me, they're not trying to come and talk to somebody and get no script that came off of somebody's book that they read in school. They want someone who has the experience and the background to make them know you know what you're talking about. Y'all got to get off my back. I'm going to throw you off my back anyway, but I'm saying y'all got to ease up. And I'm saying to all those people in political positions, if you really are serious about reducing crime in this country, go wherever you can go to get the information. And if I can help you, I will. Just don't be on no garbage, because I'm not going to go for it. So that's pretty much all I had. Hopefully this was useful to somebody. I had an itch to say this, and I need to start speaking more. I keep being told by people, my inbox bumps, right, with people telling me that I need to talk about more and more. It bothers me because it seems like vanity. I don't want to get on here and look at myself on the screen. I don't have a desire for doing that. I'm a behind the scenes kind of a person. I don't talk about 90% of what I do. But sometimes it's necessary to get on here and you know, speak out on some things. And the difference between me and other people, I don't speak out for PR purposes. I speak out and I back it up. I do the work. I do the work. That's not debatable. Some people may not like my approach. I don't know. But I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. Whether it's here, where I'm at right now currently, or where I'm going to be in 2 days, which won't be here. I'm going to bounce around and I'm going to do what needs to be done. And everybody doesn't say thank you. Actually, most people don't say thank you. It's okay. I'm not doing it for the thanks. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. And for those people who really want to deal with me, but you're afraid of what your buddies think if you get caught talking to me, y'all really need to do something with yourself. Look in the mirror. It's 2020. What's up, Modena? How you doing? Anyway, what's up, Art? Big Art. Appreciate you, big fella. All right, well, I'm going to let y'all go. Hopefully y'all will share this with a few people that wasn't able to get on here and see it. I say again, my organization is Ant Mound Foundation. We are doing everything we possibly can in the community. We have 4 pillars with the foundation: education, economic development, entrepreneurship, and legal justice. I choose to focus on legal justice as the dominant pillar where I am, and I'm going to continue to do that. We're going to tackle recidivism. We're going to tackle what they call the behaviorally challenged students that we deal with in the community. I'm going to continue to partner with everyone in the community that I possibly can. I will name names, whether that is the school district here, whether that is the likes of the Brandon Ewings of the world, the Coach Dwayne Springs of the world, the Stretch down at Stretches of the world, the Carlos of the world. I don't care who it is, whether it is the organization's Legacy Foundation with George Moore, whether it is, and you know, people don't say my organization's name, and I don't care. But even if I don't work with these people directly, I'm going to speak on them. Even if it's the Mark Jones of the world with the Eddie Washington Center, or whether it is Deidre Collins with Women Enough, or Vance Wyatt with Black Lives Matter, him and Zaki over there. I don't really care what organization you think about, whether it's for-profit entities like Power, which is here in the area. Look, man, or even if it's individuals who are behind them walls, if I could get to them, it's a couple of people that I have in mind. If I could reach them and get next to them, I would. I would go stand right next to them and say, look, man, can you help me? I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm going to hope that sooner or later I'm going to get people that fight for me. Because right now I feel like I fight for myself. I don't have a lot of people defending me out here. I just got to do the work. So y'all enjoy y'all day, and I'll continue to fight for y'all.